Stockholm Archipelago is the largest archipelago in Sweden, and it consists of more than 24,000 islands. It takes hours and hours to reach the islands far out to the east, but I'm not focusing on those today. Today we're gonna have a look at Fjäderholmarna, the closest islands in the Stockholm Archipelago. Getting here takes less than half an hour with a boat from Stockholm, and that means that it's very popular for people who want the archipelago experience without making any kind of effort. You'll find a lot of tourists here, basically people who believe that this qualifies as being out in the archipelago proper. Of course, they're wrong. By Stockholm standards, this barely qualifies as leaving the city, but it's still a beautiful island regardless of that. To be honest, I've never been here before, and I blame Ash from Simple Wild Living who made me come out here. Go to his YouTube channel and tell him what a bastard he is for making me do this. But since I'm here anyway, let's explore Fjäderholmarna together, just you and me, and all the other tourists. Fjäderholmarna were first mentioned in 1381 when Bo Jonsson Grip bought parts of the Stockholm outskirts. He basically got these islands thrown in as a bonus. These islands were deemed pretty useless, because there's no significant forest here and not enough grazing to feed a single cow, according to commentary from 1699. However, they did have some use for fishing and hunting waterfowl and their eggs. In fact, birds might have played a part in naming these islands. Fjäderholmarna means the Feather Islands, and some believe that this is a bastardization of the name Fjärdholmarna, which means the Bay Islands. But some believe that the original name actually was the Feather Islands because of all the waterfowl and the eggs they collected. So what do you think? Are these islands named after the scenic location or because of birds? So what is there to do here? Well, for one thing, there's handicraft and quaint shops to explore. That means I love you in Swedish. Trust me. There's a glassblower and a blacksmith here as well, but he won't let me touch his precious hammer, not today at least, because the forge isn't turned on. That forge is actually the same one that was used by the military when they were located on this island in the 40s. Now you know. There's also a chocolate maker shop here, opened by two sisters in 1996. Adults only, happy lollies. Am I the only one getting really curious right now? But they tore down a whiskey tasting lounge to make room for their shop, so I'm not sure if I'm happy or upset right now. Whiskey, chocolates, but mostly people come here to eat and drink well. There have been restaurants and cafés here since the 1600s. It's hard to say if people mostly come here for the food or for the view or for the whole archipelago experience. And there's actually a brewery here as well, Fjäderholmarna Brewery. And speaking of that, it's actually time for me to attend a guided walk, so come on, let's have a look. This is a microbrewery that opened in 2013 with the ambition to open a brew pub, a combined brewery and pub. Here you can try the beer straight from the tanks. It's a pretty unique concept in Sweden. I'm not sure if you've tried it elsewhere, but this was the first time for me, and I like it. Speaking of drinks, let me tell you about these huge vaults in the mountainside. The Swedish Navy took charge of these islands between 1918 and 1976, and it was forbidden to disembark on these islands during that whole time. The Navy excavated these huge vaults in the mountainside and used them to store munitions. These days they serve a much more important purpose. The Swedish whiskey manufacturer Mackmyra uses them to store and age whiskey. I salute you, good old Swedish Navy! You paved the way for an excellent whiskey storage facility. But let's talk more about drinks. At the end of the 1800s, a war broke out here. But it wasn't any normal type of war. It was a liquor war. Stockholm City had a monopoly on selling hard liquor, but that didn't apply to these islands because they were outside the city limits. The liquor king Lars Olsson Smith brewed hard liquor out here and sold it to thirsty people, circumventing the liquor monopoly in Stockholm. Stockholm imposed a tax of 1 öre per 2.6 liters brought into the city, but that didn't stop people from flocking out here to these islands. Steamboats departed twice every hour, year-round, to let people come to Fjäderholmarna to buy hard liquor. Since 1983, a group of history enthusiasts are running a boat museum here. Their goal is to display Nordic boating traditions from small fishing boats to big sailing boats. They want to preserve knowledge of how to repair and maintain these boats, and even how to build them. I like boats, even if I know very little about them. I think they work either by buoyancy or by magic. I can never remember which one it is. That's about it for my little look at Fjäderholmarna, the closest islands in the Stockholm Archipelago. I need to try a few more beers before I return to Stockholm, and you need to like and subscribe. But most importantly, have a great day. Oh, and make sure you check out Simple Wild Living's video about these islands as well. I think there's a link here somewhere, or here, I don't know.